I'm John, I'm from Safety First Training, and I'm here to chat to you guys about some waves today. So here we go then, how are waves formed? So waves are basically formed by the wind blowing over the surface of the ocean. And a good way of thinking about this is by getting a straw in your mouth and blowing over a cup full of water and seeing the ripples appear on the surface of that water. Basically, exactly the same sort of thing is happening hundreds of miles out at sea, and then those waves are gradually building and building and building. The longer the distance that they have to travel coming towards the shore, the amount of time that the wind is blowing over the surface of the water, and the distance that the wind has blown over the water for. There's the three words down the side there of the slide: velocity, length of time it blows for, and fetch. Those are the common words that you will see around waves being formed. Now then, let's have a quick chat about what you might see down at the beach when you go down there for a swim. So, I imagine that the majority of the time for you blue tits out and about throughout the winter, you might come across the conditions on the left hand side of the screen, which is wind chop. So these waves have been generally formed by localised winds, just whipping up and creating havoc on the sea, which makes the sea all choppy and all over the place and with not much consistency. If we look at the picture on the right hand side of the screen, the groundswell picture, these are waves that have been formed hundreds and hundreds of miles out at sea and have gradually had the time to build up, and then they peel really nicely as they come and hit our shores. You'll also see that they're quite consistent. They've got the lines between them. Okay, so I think it's well worth just trying to go onto a site that you might use to get your weather and wind and waves prediction from, and having a look at it and knowing what the conditions work for on your beach on a daily basis. So this is our local beach here in Pembrokeshire, White Sands. What would the conditions look like for the top one there? 6 foot at 7 seconds. Well, that would look like the wind chop on the left hand side of the last slide. Whereas the conditions below would be 2.5 feet at 12 seconds. That means that there's a much longer period within the waves. There's so much more consistency within the waves. So there are a few different types of waves which we will look at over the next few slides. Let's start with the plunging or dumping wave that people may have come across. A lot of people have experienced these. They can be quite challenging conditions to be swimming around in. So these waves are basically, it could be that the beach is very steep and the wave has just come in one big line, and then it's hit this steep shore, and then all of a sudden it just all topples over with this great power and dumps straight down onto the shore. Not amazing conditions to be swimming around in, to be honest. Taking waves like that on the head, it's not going to be incredibly comfortable. It can also be incredibly challenging to try and get out of the water afterwards as well, because if you're just being dumped straight onto either a sandy beach or especially pebbly beach, then it can be quite tricky. Some beaches, the dumping waves can happen at a certain state of tide. So I know that for White Sands, we get dumping waves more towards a spring low tide. Shore break. So again, these are fairly similar a little bit towards the dumping waves, but these would be, they break right on the shore on a really steep beach. Get these quite often in the south of France, possibly a few other beaches around the UK as well, where like I say, you get a really steep beach, and it looks like there's not going to be a wave that breaks, and then all of a sudden it lifts up and it just goes boom straight on the shore into shallow water. Can be incredibly dangerous because the waves can pick you up and then just slam you down onto the sand. Not incredibly nice. Now then, here we go. These waves are slightly nicer, or much nicer in fact. These are the sort of waves that as a surfer they'd be absolutely loving, because this is where you get the nice peeling, lovely waves, as in the picture at the beginning when we were looking at the wind chop versus the groundswell. This is spilling waves that you'll get consistent waves just peeling, hopefully, from along the beach. And yeah, if you do get the right conditions with an offshore wind helping lift the wave up, yeah, you can, these waves can then potentially go hollow, so become a tube. So this one is a surging wave. These waves may appear that they're not actually going to break as they're coming in towards the shore, and it's just like a big pile of water basically just coming straight in, and it just keeps going and going and going. They may not have the depth of the water for the wave to break properly as in other waves. That's why it might be in deep water, so that this big pile of water just pushes and pushes right in. It can be really dangerous around areas of rocks. So yeah, just something to be aware of. Backwash. Now this is brilliant. Generally can happen on beaches where there might be a wall at the top of the beach or a big pebbly bank, and this is where generally it would happen then at high water. As the waves would come in, they would hit the wall at the top end of the beach, and they would rebound off that wall and start making their way back out to sea. And then as that wave that's rebounded hits another one of the waves coming in, then you get a big pile of spray of water going up in the air. And when you get that action happening, that's called Clapotis, and it's absolutely fantastic. Could be quite off-putting for a swimmer in those conditions though. And that is it. That is my quick top tips for swimming out in the waves and the different types of waves to be aware of. I think it's always useful to do a dynamic risk assessment before entering the water, making sure that you sort of go in, oh, are they dumping waves? Oh, we might stay away from that section, or let's go to another beach that'll be more sheltered with different waves. Thinking about all of these ideas. Good luck, enjoy yourself out there and stay safe.